Hello and welcome to the Inside Football Podcast. My name is Joe Simon. Today I am joined by two supreme footballing icons. The first of which is Ed Cavalier, who is having some big problems logging into Zoom, but we're also fortunate enough today to be joined by a very important player in the Socceroos squad, fresh off making his move from Hibs in Scotland to FC Poli in the Bundesliga 2. Is he there, Ed?
Coming in live from Hamburg is the man himself, Jackson Irvine. Hello, mate.
We're in.
Bro, I'm so sorry. My whole life
don't be silly.
The one time I need it, it shits itself. I'm going to send a sternly worded letter to Elon Musk. First things first, congratulations, man. You had a great season with Hibs. You did so well, and then you got the move to Sao Paulo, man. Congrats.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a bit of a eventful 12 months. Looking back on where I was kind of last year, I'd gone through a bit of a rough patch after leaving Hull and didn't have a team for a little bit, but got my way back up to Scotland, had a good 6 months. Played in a couple of big national cup final and semi-final, and good time away with the Socceroos in the summer, and now adjusting to life in Hamburg. So it's been a bit of a wild 6 months.
How's it going there? How's your German?
It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. I've had my first couple of lessons. There's a couple other newer players as well from around Europe, so they've put us in a little class together. So hopefully I'll be up and running with my German tongue in no time.
Yeah.
How good is that? Like, it's such a great, sidebar of being a professional footballer, which you've done so well. It's traveling around, and how different is living in Scotland to Hamburg, of all things.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a culture shock, to be fair, but I've absolutely loved it so far. It is just quite funny when you go into when I go into these lessons and with these other European players, it's just like we are just so uncultured in a lot of ways. Like these guys are learning their third and fourth languages. You know what I mean? Like, I'm having this class with one of our Polish players and Swedish players, and these poor guys have to do the lessons in English, translate that into their own language, and then translate that again on into German. So it's like, I'm already one step ahead of them. And they already speak Portuguese and all these other languages from places they've played. And I'm like, mate, I can do a Glaswegian accent for you if that helps. But
it's just as good.
That's about all It's probably harder to understand.
I've been watching as much as I can of because as soon as a Socceroo goes somewhere, that becomes my team. That's just the way it goes, right? So I watch as much of Sao Paulo as I can so far. And what I've been struck by with Bundesliga 2, which I knew a bit, but not too much, and the standard it's unbelievable. The standard of football is so high. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, now when you're in Europe, especially in these big European leagues, the second divisions are top divisions in their own right. They just say the same thing about the Championship in England. The level is so high, and the fan bases and stuff in Germany has been absolutely mind blowing. Like, playing in front of we had a cup game against Magdeburg, who are a third league team here, and you're looking at 25, 30,000.
Wow.
Obviously they're a little bit at reduced capacity because of COVID, but the level of interest and thinking the lower divisions here is absolutely huge as well. So from a football perspective, on and off the field, everything about it has been
great.
It's been huge, especially with Hamburg HSV being in the second league as well. So the focus of this city is almost entirely on the second league, which is great for us.
That's great. I was reading up on an article after you made your move, and St. Pauli were described as the maverick cop of the football world. Too cool for school. Tell me about that. And they also said they don't play by the rules. What kind of? Where do they get?
I was about to say, I'm not sure they'd want to be described as a cop of any sort.
What rules are you breaking?
No doubt. It's awesome. It's like in terms of a culture around a football club, I don't think I could have landed anywhere that is more suited to my personality. And I think, the people who kind of put this move in place from behind the scenes are obviously well aware of the footballing link between, that this would be a great opportunity on the field as well, but obviously very aware of who I am as a person off the field and the kind of cultural change and also challenge that I was looking for, combined with playing somewhere like this, as you say, like they're a unique club, a unique fan base, and for everything that they represent socially as well. It's such a cool environment to be a part of.
So on that, so there's a thing with football clubs that have that say they have like an ethos or whatever, but then there's other clubs, St. Pauli being one of them, but you've also been at Celtic, who I feel like how much does that affect the recruitment? If they said to you, hey, look, what do you think about St. Pauli? Was there another process where they're like, look, we know he's a good footballer, but is he going to fit in the vibe as well?
100%. Like I had early, when we kind of started going down this road, I had a call with the director and the manager, just kind of break that ice in terms of who you are as a person, the kind of...
What they ask you?
Just nothing like overly major and everything. It was really just to get a feel. These guys, what I've discovered from this club is it's very much like kind of family community based. So these guys themselves have been a part of the club. Our manager was an ex-player. They've been around so they all understand what it is to play for the club and the kind of characters that they need. So I think that played a big part in it as well. And as you say, like clubs that have a certain ethos and things like that, I think if you don't align with that, then especially these kinds of clubs that don't hide what they believe in. A lot of I think we see a lot of times now in football, teams maybe like to dip their toe in with a social issue and give it a little rainbow round captain's armband or a rainbow lace, or we'll do the right thing and do this. But not these clubs. These clubs live and die by their morals. This is what they represent. So you need to definitely buy into that and be a part of it.
That's great. It sounds like a perfect move for you, mate. You've played as a number 6 and a number 10 throughout your career, like both at club level and internationally with the Socceroos. Do you kind of know where you're gonna be starting or you're gonna be playing, or is it just a matter of you'll play wherever you're put?
That's me all in a nutshell, mate. I'll play wherever they put me. But but it's great. The formation we play here is a diamond midfield with 4. So obviously a 6, a 10, and we play with 2 8s on either side that kind of have that license to be box to box. And that's for me, where I think I thrive the most. So I see myself probably playing there. When hopefully I'll work my way into the team after coming back from a little niggle. But I'm capable of playing in any of those 4 positions within, in the midfield, which is great to have that flexibility for myself and for the team. So
how is the body? How are you feeling?
Good, mate. I'm flying. I've been back fit now for kind of a couple of weeks, but club boys have been doing well. So we've got a game on Sunday, and then hopefully, put myself in a position to be available for selection for the national team as well. So that's the one. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah. Are you on the front of the St. Pauli website? There's a Levi's collab. Now, either they've got someone who's very like you, or that's you.
Yeah, mate. I think the boys have been making jokes. I've done more photo shoots than training sessions.
I clicked on. I'm like, there he is. He's already front page of the Levi's collab. I could like it.
They're like this guy. They've just brought him in for to be like poster boy or something.
He's the handsome bloke.
Nothing wrong with that.
We're not even. I don't even know if it's handsome. I think it's just because I've got a little bit of edge about me or something.
I love it.
It's great. No, I've loved being all these little aspects of the club and the culture, as you say. The combos with Levi's and these kinds of things. It's real cool. It's such an awesome environment, honestly.
That's great. You sound so happy. It's fantastic. Look, we're not going to dwell on it, but the whole thing was so weird. You played over 100 games. You scored goal. You were in and out. You were in the team it was just such an odd situation.
It was mad, honestly. As I say, I look back on a year ago, and it doesn't even feel like it. Doesn't feel like I was sitting at home this time last year thinking, I don't have a team. What's going on? How is this? How has it come to this? As you say, when you look at where we were in that January of 2020 before COVID, I was vice captain of the club, 100 games. We were, outside the playoffs on goal difference. You're thinking this is the best position we've been in at this time. And then literally 3 months later, it just like comes absolutely crashing down.
So strange.
No. So listen, it's as you say, you don't want to dwell too much on the past. But for myself, obviously, the biggest thing was like my relationship with the club and the fan, and you don't want that to be tarnished by like how things end when you give so much. And I absolutely loved Hull. I was there for another 6 months. So my girlfriend's from Hull.
Yeah,
like it's it plays a big part and played a massive part in my career, and it's just such a shit way for it to end, basically.
Yeah, well, I went to Honor, but it was just one of the strangest things. Even if I didn't know you, it just was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were Mario and you won't come back from Carnival. It was
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Exactly right. There was no like bad blood or anything. No. It was literally the club just said, "Well, we're not going to extend your contract. Your contract's running over the code, like as in COVID extended the season. They wouldn't extend my contract, but also wouldn't guarantee that I would have something there for me next season to play." And it was nuts.
Anyway.
As you say, it wasn't just me. There was about 4 or 5 other players as well, and guys at other clubs that got left in similar situations. I think I think everyone looks back on it in hindsight, and I think obviously at that COVID time, the club just had no idea what was going to happen and how it was going to affect them going forward.
Yeah.
But as you say, it's just especially for as you say, the position I'd put myself in within the club, and at that time, for it to end like that way in such a short period was just absolutely mental. Absolutely mental.
Jackson, tell us about the Socceroos squad ahead of the upcoming fixtures against China and Vietnam. Hopefully you're fit to go and participate. Who are you excited to catch up with? Who in the squad is really annoying? Give us a little insight about what the dynamic is like there.
There's a few wind-ups in there, that's for sure. But we're such a good group, and honestly, we all love like coming away so much. It's not just it's a refresher from your club. It gives everything, like you kind of go in with this like bounce, I guess. I don't know. Everyone kind of feels the same way when you come in. It's great. And we've got in such a good position now. We've got so many boys playing at their best football at the moment. And I don't know, obviously it's difficult with A-League players and stuff. I don't know how that's going to affect everything in the next few weeks. I'm sure we'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I know Tom Rogic will be back in the squad after seeing it. He's absolutely on fire at the moment under Ange at Celtic. And obviously him and Aaron were big losses for us in June, but we obviously coped very well without them. Young Aiden stepped up massively. Ryder McGree, we've got good young players. Coming through. Kenny Dougal stepped in. He obviously off the back of his Blackpool heroics.
Yeah,
we're looking strong all over the pitch, and I
was been talking to
these are the big ones.
I was talking to some journalists and some around the game, and even Aloisi was saying Aloisi was loving the depth. He's like, man, we got 2 squads. It's great to have everyone's not on edge is the wrong word, but he goes, everyone's like, look, they know that you got to do a job because there's a bloke playing at a good level who's, very kindly would love to borrow that shirt from you for a while.
Yeah.
And two, how did you go? So if you got to play with Australia's newest Australian, Martin Boyle, at Hibs, but he's great. He's, obviously a good player, but he's fitted in so well. He gets stuck in and he loves it. I love that. He loves it.
Oh, absolutely. Him and Harry and Boyley, since they became into the group, it's just been absolutely seamless. Like,
great.
They're like top blokes, and they've like really embraced the culture of the team, and everything that comes along with being a Socceroo as well. And obviously their performances on the pitch have been exceptional. Like I struggle to think of like 2 guys who have slotted in and played as big a role as they have. So
Max Fieri. Let's not forget Max Fieri's contribution.
Hey, massive, like timeless. They're great, and Boyley as like his well documented antics off the field as well are fantastic. So they're big players for us on and off the field now. Big parts of what we do. So love them.
Yeah. Hey, the only Roos, they did pretty well at the Olympics. They were really promising, and the 3 games they played. Did you follow much of that and chat to any of them?
Yeah, I watched. I spoke. Well, didn't want to bombard these guys' messages on their way. I spoke to Harry and before they left, and Obviously I watched all 3 games and just like so proud of the performances. I suppose first things first, obviously the guys are always going to be disappointed when you don't get the results you want, but I thought they gave an unbelievable account of themselves, and you could be really proud of what they did. And it just shows the level of expectation now that we've created with the talent pool that we've got, that we're the expectation from ourselves and from the public is that you can go and compete and get out of these kind of groups with top nations in them. And I think that's only a positive. I don't think there's any way to look at that as being, a negative in any way. So the boys are brilliant. And those guys now are going to play huge roles for us over the next 12, 18 months as well. A lot of those younger players. So yeah, it's important.
What is it about Harry Suter? I've seen 2 meter tall men before. I don't want to notice when it's his big head, it's his big frame. He just looked much bigger than anyone else at the Olympics there. He was dominating.
He's a large human. He's a large person, but he's such a gentle giant. And like, it's so funny because, obviously 24/7 there's jokes being made about his height and his size and everything like that. And he just has this little laughing face where he's just like, yeah, go on then. Like, get out of your system. Like, I know.
Get out of your system.
I know you're gonna say it. So he's so good. He takes it all with a pinch of salt. So, but he is a big bloke.
He's true. I love that. I love that type of stuff, though. The old Nikola Zigic syndrome. German coaches are having it's like the thing now. German coaching is sort of the de rigueur thing. What have you seen former player Schultz, who's your coach, and just watching, as I said, watching the games that I've watched in your league, you're right. It's not as if there's Bundesliga 1 and 2. It's like there's an extended Bundesliga. That's how I would see it, because the standard is so, and the clubs are so massive that are going up and down now. And the coaching there, what's the difference between Scotland and England that you've seen so far?
Yeah, exactly what you just, especially on what you've said there about there being an extension of the first. And you got, I think if you'd have said to people, you'd see Schalke, go to Bremen, and HSV, like playing in the second league, you'd be like it's absolute madness. But yeah, as with the football and the coaching, it's typically German. It is very structured, very you do a lot of. I would just say there's a much more of an emphasis on focus on the structure within the games, and I feel like from what I've seen and been involved in terms of training and games here so far, the football is a lot more controlled. Like, or everything is just, I feel like British football is, it's so exciting because sometimes it can be a bit erratic, and it can be like so end to end and so like, I don't know, unpredictable in a lot of ways. And here, although it still carries a lot of those elements as well, I feel like here, the team that gets it right tactically, the team that plays within the discipline, everything more often than not is going to come out on top, I guess, in a lot of ways. So no, I feel like for myself, I've already learned a lot, improved a lot in playing in a different way. And but yeah, as you say, German coaching and this style of football, we've seen the success that obviously, ironically, with Tuchel and Klopp, I feel like obviously like far apart in the way that they approach football, but obviously 2 of the top managers now in the Premier League. And yeah, we're seeing it all over the board, like that kind of discipline and within the way that they approach the game is definitely kind of modern football now.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about Ange as well. Obviously, you spent a lot of time with Ange at Celtic. We all know Ange is a capable, excellent coach, and I think Celtic fans are finally realising that now after actually seeing him manage the club, which is great to hear. But when you first heard about him, what did you think of the fit of Ange at Celtic, both with his philosophy and how he likes to play? What was your initial reaction when you heard that news?
I think anybody who's worked with Ange and anybody who understands Celtic would have like straight away was like, this could be great. Like, this could be, and like, it was quite funny. I did an interview I honestly reckon it was about 3 weeks before the announcement where they were asking on a Scottish podcast where they asked me about like coaches I've worked with, and I was talking about how I'd love to see Ange come to Europe.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 weeks later, he was Celtic manager. It was
amazing.
Just,
wow.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny how it goes, but the way his style of play, with the players that he has access to, and within the way that they're going to play out, like obviously they play tonight to qualify for the Europa League. And just to see, I suppose for me as a Celtic fan, kind of
started there
because the club, because that's where it all kind of began.
One or two senior appearances. What are we going with? Because I think it's less than 10, but it's more than one.
We can stretch it out. To be honest, is it one? It was 45. It was 45 minutes.
Come on.
I was about to say, Scotland is. People don't understand how mad Celtic is. Like, I was, my girlfriend. We went up to Glasgow. I've got a lot of family and friends there. Last year, a couple of years ago, and like I've played, as you say, I played 100 games for Hull, vice captain. I've been quite lucky in terms of international career. Absolutely. Played in a World Cup. I still reckon I'm more well known in football for playing 45 minutes for Celtic 9 years ago than anything else.
What number did you wear that day? What number did you wear that day? I thought so. I thought that's where it started. Your number that you've always kept. Yes, the 36. Yeah. Yes, I thought so. Can I do a quick rant? A quick rant and get your response. Okay.
Go for it.
The basic premise of the Scottish media coverage about Ange Postecoglou before he got there and after that first game, Guardian, everyone, people who should know better, was Australian from Japan. What's he doing? This is a disaster, right? 3 weeks later, it's 6-0 every week. Look, they're not going to win 6-0 every week, but clearly his ideas have embedded in, right?
Yep.
Australian coach who come from Japan, who's there. He's turned one of their youth defenders into a first-team regular who looks absolutely fantastic. He's completely changed the shape of the team. He's reinvigorated players that even like Tommy, who we love, Rogic, who they couldn't find a place for. And the best player in the team is a Japanese bloke that he brought over from the J-League, right? And so their basic premise was, how can this work? And then you go to the other flip side of it. If Australian football is so terrible, and if we can't be trusted, then, hey, Scotland, why are you playing a bloke from the Gold Coast up front in the Euros?
Good, right? Yeah, very reasonable and correct in everything you've said there.
I guess my question, though, I know it's a rant, but my question is, as someone who grew up playing, as an Australian who grew up playing in Scotland and things, and now going to Germany, is there still that thing? I remember Ed Zelic telling me years ago that he'd just tell people he was Croatian, so it didn't have to be and then thought, stuff this, I'm going to start saying I'm an Aussie to be, But so is it still? Is there any still that thing of, are you from Australia? Are you? Well, good luck with that.
There, I would say probably when I first arrived there a long time ago, there was probably that lingering attitude for sure of like, I don't know, as you say, this like kind of attitude towards Australians and Australian football in general. I would, you'd like to think that because of our success on the international stage, being at World Cups now, winning, major tournaments and these things, that's started to grow. And the fact that we've had players within these leagues, in Scotland, players like Tom, who over now 7, 8 years has been immensely successful. You like to think that attitude has changed, but as you say, to be honest, I'm not surprised, because the Glasgow bubble of Celtic and Rangers, and obviously after Rangers' success last year, winning with the unbeaten season and their success in Europe, it didn't matter who the guy that got the job was, unless it was Eddie Howe, who was the one that was up. They all touted for. They all the fans had banked on it was going to be him. It didn't matter who it was going to be. They were going to face this.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. That you think it could have been anyone. That's interesting. I honestly
think it would have been anyone, because it was almost like a lash out against the board. I don't even know how much of it was against the man against Andy himself. It was like just because of the way that it happened. But then, but literally, as I say, anyone that has worked with him, the clear identity of the way he approaches football and the way he just like so totally committed to this style. And he, if you don't buy in, then you get left behind. Like that is just the way it is. And you can see so clearly, as you say, you've turned a youth player right back who, was coming under a lot of fire into, people want him in Scotland.
I know that. They're calling him. I'm like, are you people reading this? Where do you think this came from? He was nowhere. He was nowhere 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, and as you say, like, they were, Kyogo, since he came in, has been an absolute revelation. Like, he's been extraordinary, and like I say, like in a lot of ways, I'm not surprised. Obviously, the Champions League was a tough.
But Midtjylland are a better club. That's a fair enough thing. They're further along. They are a further along club. Like they say, we should beat Midtjylland. No, you shouldn't. Why? Why should you beat Midtjylland?
And as you say, like they've been a Champions League group stage team, but this is the level of expectation you're dealing with this club. Like this is there's no excuse. Yeah. And as you say, they're not going to beat everybody 6-0 every week. There's going to be like bumps in the road, but the way that you can see the intensity and freedom that they're playing with is like, teams in Scotland now, like obviously will just be, you're looking at like how do you stop this train at the moment, I guess. So no, it's great to see. And obviously for myself, obviously the big thing is Tom, just like,
that's good.
Obviously he's a good mate of mine, and to see him like playing his very best again after a tough year last year, it's like, because he's such a massive player for us. And when he's at his best, he is an iron unplayable. So he couldn't be happier with that.
Another thing Ange has done really well is he's not only got them playing great football, but in every press conference, he's snapping at the owners about transfers if he needs to. After a 6-0 win 2 weeks ago, one of the journalists asked him, like, you picked out a problem, and he's just gone, well, you've done well to pick out a problem today, mate. He's just straight back at them. And I think if there's one way to endear yourself to the Celtic supporters, he's got them on side by doing that straight away. Yeah, no, you couldn't be more right. Like he's always got a little quip in him or something like bit
this.
Of lip.
Those responses that they go down a treat, especially when, as I was saying, the media's attitude towards these things is always going to be like this. And the way he's handled himself, like as you say, in a difficult environment of that Glasgow bubble, because anyone who's lived it knows that it's like no other place in football, and the level and the eyes on you is, as you say, the problem. It's like it's difficult to put into words unless you can't.
Unless you've lived it. It's interesting.
Yeah,
the lived experience of it.
Well, as I say, when I say lived it, it was never on me. But I was part of it.
You were there. You saw what was happening.
Living in the sea. It was probably me more as a fan than with the other players. That was probably more exact.
I've only got one more question. What's the food like at St. Pauli? Because what's on the menu? Is there anything? Because I know Forest Green, it's a vegan club, which is tough. So what's on the menu? St. Pauli, what are we eating? What are we having?
It's been pretty general too. So we have a lot of Asian cuisine actually. Yeah, we get a lot of we go eat a lot of like it's pretty standard, to be fair. Chicken noodles, veg noodles. Like it's not like overly. I wouldn't say it's. I don't know if I wasn't expecting it to be like Forest Green and everything to be vegan. That's for sure. But there are good. We have vegan players and some staff members as well, so there's good options. But food's been fine. Nothing overly noteworthy either.
Okay, well, I'm sure. Nothing that springs to mind. What a great last question, Joe. You finish us off then, because I wasted one with that. You go last.
I just want to ask you. Mitch Duke was the oldest player in the Australian squad at 30 at the Olympics. Have you spoken to him about how he felt about being the dad amongst the kids?
Dukey's a kid in his own right. Like, so he'd have been right. I feel like he'd have been right at home. I haven't had a chance to speak to him actually since they got back. But as I say, hopefully next week he'll be able to tell some stories about the experience and stuff. And because what a unique opportunity to have been a part of something like that. Yeah. So.
And he got to move. He got to move to Japan, and he scored the other day. So it's been great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's carried that form on as well, which again is only good for us.
Is there a Socceroos WhatsApp group?
Yes, of course.
That's hot. That's a hot story.
Who's the most active?
Who's the most active? Well, it depends which group, but it's normally the team manager reminding everybody to fill out their form, their COVID form.
Fill out your forms.
Not such a hot group.
Exactly. So inspiring. Fill out your forms. That's excellent. Hey, mate, it's always a pleasure. We're so proud of you. Hang in Santo, say hello. Santo, say hello. But it's always, mate, thanks so much for making time, mate. We'll be watching you. Number 7, St. Pauli, number 7. I love it. And we're really, it's always a pleasure, man. Well done.
Pleasure chatting to you, mate. Lovely to meet you.
Cheers, brother. I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.